Hey everybody, Michael with Success for Others. And as you know, we've been helping contractors all across North America grow their in-home service business, both top line, bottom line revenue, but more importantly, improving the quality of lives of the people that they employ as well as the people that they serve. So this is going to be video one of a series of videos. It's going to be specifically targeted around financing in your business and what's involved with financing, what are the benefits in financing, and what kind of what can you expect with financing in your in-home service business? So regardless of your field of expertise, whether that be roofing, windows, solar, heating, air conditioning, plumbing, it really doesn't matter what your business is. Financing is going to work the exact same way in each one of those businesses because there's a couple of facts and there's a couple of things that we need to just look at in terms of information. The first thing that I want to talk about in kicking off this series is probably the most important and the most critical to successfully implementing financing into your business to effectively increase that top and bottom line revenue I was talking about. And that's going to come down to mindset, right? That's going to come down to what you think and what you think specifically about financing. So before we go any further, I think the first thing that we need to do is you just have to ask yourself a question. When I say the word financing in your business, or I start to talk about financing in your business, what comes to mind? What are the thoughts that are kind of going through your head right now? If I told you you should finance 100% of the business in your company, it should all be financed. What's the initial thoughts that come to mind? It's going to be one of two things, right? It's going to be either positive or it's going to be negative. It's going to be all the ways and all the reasons why, yeah, that makes sense. I can see that, and I would love to get to 100% of all my business being financed. Or it's going to look for all the reasons why maybe that's not possible. Well, yeah, but the paperwork involved with financing, my customers, they just don't want to be bothered with the paperwork. Financing, setting up that relationship between our business and a financial institution is a real pain in the butt, and it's just something that I just don't have time for. It might be the fees associated with financing. I mean, whenever you're going to use or utilize somebody else's money, typically that comes with some sort of fee or dealer fee or whatever it is, or percentage points to offer that finance program. So maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe it's the demographics that you're in. Maybe your customers don't need financing. Maybe you live in a very predominant area of the United States or Canada or wherever, and your customers in your mind, they don't need financing. Whatever that is, that's the first step. So the first step is to identify what your core beliefs are around financing in your business, because that's going to either lead you down this path and to these benefits, or it's going to take you further away. So let's just start with the basic facts about financing. We know a couple of things. First, we know that people are used to it. People finance everything. So the world that we live in, the society we live in today, is driven off of financing. And look no further than, probably the phone that you're watching this on, or the phone that's in your pocket or on the desk next to you or car seat next to you, as proof, right? I mean, look at the smartphones today. Smartphones today are what, $800, $1,500. I mean, they're expensive. It's not cheap technology, but yet every 10-year-old and older is rolling around with a smartphone in their hand. So if a 12-year-old is running around with the latest and greatest version of an iPhone or the greatest version of an Android device in their hand, I mean, that device costs that child's parents somewhere between $600 and $1,000. Now, the key is that parent didn't go to the counter and then have to stroke a check for $1,000, because they made it easy for you to upgrade your existing device to the latest and greatest device with, a low monthly investment of only $9 a month or $19 a month or $23, whatever that number is. That's financing. They made it easy for you to do business with them based on a low monthly investment. So we have to look at that, and that's the way in which we operate in this world. Right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Justify why we should live debt-free or whatever have you. I mean, you take the Ramsey approach, or you cannot take the Ramsey approach. Ramsey's smart. I mean, his principles are smart. I'm not knocking anybody. I'm just looking at truths, and the truths are that the society in which we live in uses financing for damn near everything. And there's statistics to back all of this up, right? So when you look at this, we have to say, okay, people are using financing. You're using financing. If I asked you, how much did you spend last year in your mortgage, on your mortgage payment? It would take you less than 3 seconds to figure that answer out. But if I asked you, hey, what was your mortgage payment? What's your monthly mortgage payment? You know that answer at the top of your head. Boom. What's your rent? What's your mortgage? What's your car payment? What's your utility costs for, let's say, cable or internet or your cell phone bill? You know those monthly investments because you're budgeted monthly, just like every other person that walks the face of the earth, at least in North America, right? So at that point, everybody is budgeted monthly. They're not budgeted annually. They're not budgeted in totals. They're budgeted monthly. So leveraging monthly investments in your business is just makes sense. It's how we operate. It's how we live our lives today. And let's take it to another simple truth. Another simple truth is that people, especially Americans, we love to buy stuff. We absolutely love to buy things. What we hate and what we despise is to be sold anything. But man, do we like to buy stuff, right? So if we love to swipe that card, we love to sign by the X, and we get all emotionally jacked up about it. I mean, the last car that you purchased, I mean, you left that dealership and probably at least made some phone calls to your friends or family, like, oh, you're not going to believe what I just got. Or you're going to drive by their house and hope that they're home so you can show it off, right? But that came with, that might have been a $30,000, $50,000, $100,000 automobile, but it came with a monthly investment and terms to that investment that made it affordable for you and for everybody that you know at that time, right? So we get into these, these cars. I mean, look at the Cadillac CTS, right? I mean, great example, very popular vehicle of choice. But why? Because you can get it for as little as $299 a month. You mean tell me I can drive around and roll around in a Cadillac CTS? I mean, that's a pretty nice looking car for only $299 a month. That's awesome. What are the terms on that? What do I got to do to make that happen? But see, by offering it at a low monthly investment, that's still a $35,000, $40,000 vehicle plus, right? Depending on the version and all the options and everything that you choose. But we make it affordable. We make it the mind open to it based off of a low monthly investment. So there's some other facts I want to share with you. And right before I hit the record button on here, I just went to Google. So I'm going to share my screen with you right now and just basically show you what I found on Google. So here's my desktop here. So if we go to Google and we type in the question, how much does the average American have in their savings account? You're going to see right here in the first thing, it's going to say for typical households in major metro area, that's about 23,000, but the average American has less than 4,000 in savings. The average American has less than $4,000 in their savings account, while 57%, look at that number, 57% of U.S. adults have less than $1,000 to their names. 57% have less than $1,000 in their bank. And then the others, the overall average is $4,000. So $4,000, that is mind-blowing to me. Absolutely mind-blowing. And you're going to see this again and again and again. I mean, you can scroll through, do your own Google search, and you find out, right? I mean, Google, it's the internet, so it has to be true. But anyways, I mean, look at this stuff. Then look at the household credit, right? So this here I just found, it was the first thing, it was from NerdWallet. And so I just went through here. These numbers are the most current that I could find, but debt balances are current as of June 2018. June 2018, credit card debt in the average household, right? Average U.S. household, they're carrying a debt of $15,482. We just saw on the last screen that the average American, 57% of Americans have less than $1,000 in their savings account, and the average American as a whole has $4,000 in their savings account. But now we're seeing that the average household debt on just credit cards is $15,482 as of June 2018. And then that's not including mortgages and auto loans and student loans and any other type of debt. This is just unsecured debt, credit cards, $15,482. So you see this kind of stuff. And at that point, I mean, that's mind blowing to me, right? So we get, we have people that love to buy stuff. We absolutely love to buy stuff, and they're doing so because it's a low monthly investment. And so we have to understand, again, it goes back to the way that we think. How much are you believing and how much do you believe in financing? I mean, do you believe that all of the business in your business should be financed? Because I'll challenge you with that if the answer is no, with why not? Why wouldn't you want 100% of the business inside your business to be financed? I mean, you're guaranteed payment, right? So, I mean, once the docs are all signed and once everything is uploaded, which is typically within 24 hours, you get payment within 24 to 48 hours of that. Now, some require a completion certificate, which just basically says that, hey, I installed what I said I was going to install the way that I said I was going to install it. So, I mean, it's just a signature that you need to get. You upload that 24 to 48 hours later, the money is in your bank account. What's your AR right now? How much is your accounts receivable? How much is in that 60-day bucket and beyond, right? How much money are you chasing right now in your business that you've already done the work for? You've already outlaid the cash. You've already outlaid the labor. You've already outlaid all of this stuff, and you're still chasing the money. That doesn't make sense. Whereas in financing, you get paid right away, right? But then there's other schools of thought with the financing. Well, my field people, they don't offer financing. They won't offer financing. Well, I'm going to ask you a question. I mean, why, since when is it their choice when they work for you as to what they're going to offer and what they're not going to offer? I mean, this has to be a core belief in the business. Either you're going to want financing as part of your business, or you're going to leave it to chance and leave it up to everybody else. So, make it an initiative, make it a strong focus, and make it loud and clear to everybody in your organization that, what, we are going to leverage financing in our company. We are going to implement financing on every single deal. We're going to offer it. We're going to offer a couple different options every single time we lay a scope of work out in front of a customer. I mean, if you just make that initiative, if you make that conscious decision and you take a little bit of action to make sure that train starts off from the station on the right track, and you inspect what you expect, and you make sure that those monthly investments where you put in every single proposal or every single estimate or scope of work, you're going to see a couple of things happen in the first 30 days. Financing, we know a couple of things. First and foremost, that people love it. Secondly, that they're going to make the decision quicker and they're going to spend more money than if they didn't leverage financing. Now, some people don't even realize that credit cards are financing. So let me back up for a second, right? When somebody says, I'm going to put it on my credit card, they're financing it, right? They're financing that. And what's the interest rate on a credit card? I mean, that's not on an introductory rate, right? So you got a credit card that you've had for years and years. It's not on an introductory rate. It's a good credit card. You like it. You use it all the time. You pay it off like you're supposed to. What's the interest rate on that card? Is it less than 10% fixed? Probably not. And if it is, that's rare. That's rare. It's not the majority, that's for sure. It's the minority. So at that point, look at your credit cards right now. People are spending between, 12, 14, all the way up to 30% in APR. And that APR typically fluctuates. It changes based off of a lot of different factors. Whereas with financing on a home improvement, it's a fixed interest rate. So I'm going to reference, just for simplicity purposes, I'm going to reference a financing organization that we've personally used for years and years and years. And I'm not telling you that to give them your business. Maybe you use them, maybe you don't. It's just for simplicity in being specific in these videos, because I don't want to give you just broad strokes. I'd rather give you exacts. So we use and have used, along with other financing organizations, Service Finance. Service Finance is an easy company to do business with. Sign up is simple. Approval rates are very simple. And they have a rate sheet. So that rate sheet is what's going to, and I'll share this with you as well. So that rate sheet, this is just an example of a rate sheet that I'm going to pull up here for you. So when you look at Service Finance's rate sheet, they have a couple different plans, right? They've got deferred interest with scheduled monthly payments. They've got zero interest with no monthly payments. It's the same as Cash Plan. They have no interest with equal monthly payments. They have reduced interest loans, short-term, long-term. They even have a Buy Deeper program for your more high credit risk people that maybe wouldn't qualify for a traditional loan based off their FICO score. So, I've got some things highlighted just for my own personal reference. I always want to try to keep financing costs, at or below about 5%. Yes, it is built into costs as it should be for your business. You pay to run a credit card through your merchant services, and you're going to pay to utilize financing. So you're going to want to pay attention to the dealer fee. You're going to want to pay attention to the minimum loan amount, and you want to pay attention to the maximum loan amount. So you start to see that you can borrow up to $100,000 and all the way down to $1,000 on these loans, and you're going to see that you can borrow, anywhere from $1,000 up to $100,000 on these other loans as well. The short and long term is $3,000 up to $100,000. So I mean, there's some good borrowing power there for a very low cost, right? I mean, you can get into some plans that may cost you as little as nothing, right? 9.9% at 120 months with a payment factor of 1.32% multiplier, 0% dealer fee, anywhere from $3,000 to $100,000 loan value. I mean, what's the downside in that? So 1.32, let's just put that in perspective. If I had a $15,000 job and I multiplied that by 1.32%, that means that job is going to cost me, or cost the homeowner, $198 a month for a 120-month term at a fixed 9.9% rate. Now, the great thing about service finance that we like is that there's no penalty for early payoff either. So they don't have to take that loan all the way out to term, but they're locked in right now to move forward with a $15,000 job at $198 a month, which was more affordable to them. And let's face it, they couldn't stroke the check for 15 grand, or else they would have. So we have to go back to mindset on this thing, right? I mean, so you want to look at the dealer fees, you want to look at all this stuff, but you got to understand first and foremost that people, right? There's only two kinds of buyers in this world. That's it. It's not that complex. You have two types of customers, and I don't care what the name of your business is or what market you serve. You have the first market, or the first type of buyer that can afford it. They can stroke you a check right now for whatever total you put in front of them. And they can do that. They're blessed. They're in a financial position that, whether that be 7,000, 10,000, 15,000, they're the minority of the population that doesn't have, less than $1,000 or $1,000 in their bank account right now, or $15,000 in credit card debt. Those are the people that have a lot more money in the bank, and they're happy to, well, not happy to, nobody's happy to necessarily part with their money, but at the end of the day, they're willing, or they're able to write a check of whatever number you put in front of them. And then you have the majority of customers out there, or prospects, if you will, that is the second classification. So the second classification of buyers is people that can't afford it. People that, no matter what total you put in front of them, they can't afford to stroke that check. If they can't afford to stroke the check, what are you going to do? Right? You're going to have to offer financing, right? But these people are walking around with smartphones. They have Starbucks app on that smartphone, right? They have a nice car. I mean, they have a nice house. They're responsible Americans. They're not bad people. It's the majority of us fall in this group. So this is not a bad thing, but they leverage financing for everything because that's how they can afford to get what they want, rather than, the old school mindset. My dad and his dad before him would, have this mindset of, if you can't afford to pay cash, then you can't afford to have it at all. And, that's quite frankly just not the case today. Back then, absolutely, after the Great Recession and through the 50s and 60s and 70s, that might have been the mantra, or that might have been a very good philosophy. And even today, it's a great philosophy, right? I mean, follow Ramsey and all, debt-free living and all, it's all great in theory, but I'm going to look at things that are the reality in which the world that I serve. And the reality in this world is that people are buying things that they can't necessarily stroke a check for, and they're doing so with financing. And so at that point, they are, call it living within their means, outside their means, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. The bottom line is I want to make it as easy as possible for customers to do business with me. So at that point, I have to leverage financing. So today, right now, the first step in all of this is for you to open up your mind to financing and make it an initiative in your business that every project that you put in front of a homeowner or a qualified buyer or a prospect has a financing term to it. So whether that be a no interest, no payments for your people that can stroke a check, or a low monthly investment with a fixed interest rate with no penalty for early payoff for people that can't stroke the check. Now, it's not our job, at least this is my perspective, it's not my job to be a full-blown financial advisor, right? I mean, you're an adult, you're a responsible adult, you're existing in this world for however many years you've been alive on your own because of the decisions that you've made, and you're doing okay. So at that point, I've got to trust in the fact that you know your finances and you know exactly what you can and what you cannot afford. And so my job as a consultant, my job as a sales professional is to come in and educate you on all the options available to you for this upgrade on your home, for this improvement. And then it's to provide you with the options of how you're going to want to pay for it. So let's fast forward through the whole presentation and through the song and dance and go right to the money. I mean, when you're sitting with a homeowner or a prospective buyer and they say, and you deliver a total investment, most of the time there's a money stall, a money objection, a money excuse, whatever you've been trained to call those things. There's a barrier that comes up around the money. That's when the brakes typically are put on, right? They want to know, how much this is going to cost. It sounds all good, it sounds all great, but what's this going to cost me? As soon as you deliver this total investment to somebody, it normally will create a barrier or a wall of some kind, something that's going to put the brakes on. So if I told you, oh yeah, well, you can have everything that we just discussed today. We could have it installed as early as next week, and it's only going to be, $15,842. They're going to be, that's going to put anybody back a little bit. Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't that put, that's a lot of money. There's even 7,000, even 3,000, even 1,000, right? It's a lot of money. So we get these objections or these stalls or these things that we want to figure out how we're going to close deals. How are we going to overcome objections? How are we going to do all this stuff? But yet, we're presenting in a way that's creating this resistance or this barrier in a lot of times, right? We're not making it as easy as possible to do business with us because of our personal beliefs about financing. My customers don't want it, or I don't need that shit, right? Or that you just have this crustified thinking of old school mentality of the home service businesses that financing is not as powerful as what it is. Well, financing is the most powerful tool that I'm aware of that will increase your top and bottom line revenue, increase your average tickets, increase your closing ratios, increase your customer satisfaction. I mean, it's all good. Increase your earnings, your commissions, your quality of life for your employees and your customers. All of this stuff ties right back into financing. So let's identify a couple of things. First thing you have to understand and you have to, look at is your customer database right now. The customers that are raving fans, your best customers. We all have, the customers in our database who are like, man, these customers, if I could just clone them and have my entire database just like these folks right here, my business would be unbelievable, off the chain, off the hook, best business in the world. Okay, well, let's look at those customers. Are those the customers that spent the least amount of money possible with your business? Or are those the customers that spent more money than what they could have to do business with you? And we're so thrilled with the results they got afterwards that they're telling everybody about it. I would bet money it's more of that latter group, right? It's the second group that are spending more money than what they could. They didn't beat you up on price. It didn't have you sharpen your pencil down to the point where there's no profitability left in the job. They weren't expecting the moon. I mean, they knew what they were getting right up front. They agreed to the terms. They executed, you executed on that proposal just as you said you were going to. You had a positive impact on their, life in some way. So, I always look at it as whenever I'm developing a proposal and putting that in front of somebody is what are the positive impacts going to be on them, right? We all have 5 senses, right? The sight, the taste, the smelling, the hearing, the touching, all that, right? So you have 5 senses. The more of the better job my scope of work does at having a positive impact on more of those senses, the less I'm going to have a buyer's remorse, and the more I'm going to ward off that problem child, right? I mean, at that point, people are going to be able to see the difference in what they just purchased, which is going to ward off buyer's remorse. This new widget or this new improvement on their home looks amazing compared to the last one that we replaced or we upgraded or we modified, right? So the sight at that point comes into into play, and they're, man, that looks great. People can judge craftsmanship and quality off of what they see. Maybe that the project that you did, it's quieter version than the last version that they had in their home. So you reduce the noise levels. It was more of a silent operation or non-detectable operation within their home, which they appreciated. And that also, not only did it look good, but man, it was quieter than the last one, right? Maybe their house smelled better. Maybe it was just a cleaner environment. Maybe, I don't know, whatever your product is, it had an impact on their environment in which they live to a positive on the sense of smell, right? Now, the only thing, taste is going to be a tough one, right? I mean, because at the end of the day, they're not going to necessarily lick whatever the upgrade is, hopefully, not recommended. But at the end of the day, the more positive impact I have on those senses, the less I'm going to have customer complaints, and the more I'm going to have justification in that investment. And that investment, in order to have positive impacts on all 5 of those senses, or as many of those senses as possible, it typically didn't come with the cheapest price tag. It typically came with a more expensive price tag. People actually spent more than what they could have to get a basic version of whatever you gave them. So at that point, they're spending more money, but they're happier because the results afterwards had a positive impact on them and their quality of life and their living environment. And so therefore they can justify it all day long. I mean, I know many companies that are selling $18,000, $20,000, $25,000 heating and air conditioning systems to homeowners all across North America. And they don't have complaints. They don't have people all bent out of shape saying that they overpaid and they got ripped off and all this other stuff, because those systems at that price range are systems that have a positive impact on those 5 senses and inside that home, the living environment, where we spend more time than we do anywhere else, right? So that then they justified the cost and they made it affordable. So it wasn't a $15,000 system. It was $198 a month, which is what a 10-year term at a 9.9% fixed interest rate for $15,000 works out to be at a payment factor of 1.32%. $198 a month. Now, the sweet spot for financing, at least in my limited knowledge, is going to be somewhere between that $150 to $225 range. If you can find a solution between $150 to $225 a month, that's a sweet spot for financing, right? Once you get to $400, $500 a month, I mean, you're talking AMGs, you're talking high-end automobiles at that point and above, the Audis and all of that stuff. Whereas when you can find, especially for a home improvement, that something is not quite as sexy as a brand new car, maybe kitchens and the things like that, or solar or things like that, you might be able to get away with, that higher tiered, but you got to understand that is a different tier of customer. Most consumers, most homeowners are the sweet spot's going to be between that 150 and 225. So if you look at that and just put calculator to work on this, I mean, what would a $18,000 project cost somebody on a term like that? And that's going to be $237. So right there at that cusp, right? So up to $18,000, call it $17,000, and I'm right in the sweet spot. That doesn't mean I'm not going to promote or present an option that's $25,000 or $30,000 under the same finance terms. That's going to be a higher payment, but I'm going to make sure that I have a couple of options, or at least one option that's going to be inside that sweet spot. So at that point, even if they do give me a price objection, say, man, I just can't afford $380 a month. Hey, no problem. We've got other options here, right? And one's going to be inside that sweet spot. So back to mindset. I mean, I'm kind of sharing a bunch of information with you as quickly as I possibly can for you to absorb and to let it soak in. But financing itself, there's no downside to financing in your business. You get paid faster. Your average tickets go up. Do the math on average tickets for a second. I mean, how many jobs last year or up till this year, year to date so far this year, have you sold? Right? I mean, and what is the average ticket of those? So let's just use some round numbers. Let's say you've sold 250 projects so far this year. Year to date, you've sold 250 projects, and your average ticket right now is, let's just say, $5,000. And if we can move that up to I don't know, 7,000, 8,000, 10,000. I don't want to paint a rainbow, but if your existing average ticket is 5,000, whatever it is for you, use that number. We'll use 5,000 and I'm going to raise it to 6,500. That would be a $1,500 increase, right? On 250 projects, if I could increase the average ticket by $1,500, that generates an extra $375,000 in top line revenue. $375,000 in top line revenue. So what does that do for bottom line revenue, right? What is that for net? So if that's gross, what's the net? Well, if you're already doing the work, that $1,500 upgrade was probably an enhancement of some kind to an existing project. So that enhancement isn't going to take a ton of labor. You're already there. You're already working, right? I mean, you're already on site, you're already doing a project, but now you've enhanced that project by $1,500. It might take a little bit more labor, but it's not going to take a ton or an astronomical amount of labor or parts or materials, and all those are going to be relatively fixed. So at that point, that $375,000 of additional top line revenue, a lot of that, a good percentage of that, more than half of that should drop right to the bottom line. Right? So at that point, I mean, if half of that dropped to the bottom line, you're talking about $187,500 dropping to the bottom line. Now, what did you have to do to increase your average ticket by $1,500? I'm telling you, the thing that you need to do is implement financing on every single one of your proposals and scope of work to make it easier for your customers to do business with them. So more of them choose to do business with you. So how you think about financing, you have to make sure that it's in line. You have to make sure that it's not this old school stinking thinking, this crustified thinking in the in-home service businesses that has really stagnated or held our businesses back for years and years, if not decades, right? Start to embrace the fact that consumers that walk around the planet, that walk around North America, they enjoy financing. They use financing for almost every one of their major purchases. They leverage financing. So we should have that option, right? It's going to help you also ask for the sale. It's going to help you raise your average tickets and include some accessories or some add-ons or some enhancements or some upgrades that they wouldn't have upgraded before. I mean, I'm sure we've all been through a McDonald's drive-through at some point in our lives or another where they used to ask all the time, hey, would you like to upsize that? Would you like to supersize that? Right? And they're upselling you and upselling you and upselling you. Well, we get conditioned to that yes or no type question at the close of, hey, do you want this included with it? And when we ask a yes or no question, many times we get a no response. It's part of our DNA. It's part of our makeup. I don't know how else to say it, right? It's a defensive mechanism that we have built inside of us that says, when somebody asks me a yes or no question, I'm going to default to no more times than not. So adding on things after you've got an agreement on the initial scope of work is limiting at best, but I can always take things out. So by adding on or including some enhancements that after meeting with this prospect or this homeowner would have a positive impact on their five senses, or it would increase their quality of life, or that they will notice and they will enjoy the enhancement in which you're promoting, why not just build that into your initial system? Build that into all of your systems. If I'm going to present to you 4 different options, all 4 of those options should have that enhancement built in. Because when I break it down to a monthly investment, that's $7,000, that $10,000, that $15,000, that $20,000, they're only going to go up a couple of bucks a month in terms of monthly investment with a $1,500 upgrade, right? So, I mean, if you have a $1,500 upgrade is what we're talking about increasing your average ticket, they're talking about a $19.80. So call it $20 up on their monthly investment. So instead of being, $78 a month, it's now going to be $98 a month. Instead of being $150 a month, it's now going to be $170 a month. Instead of being $198, it's now going to be $228, right? So it's not a big deal. And again, you can always take it out. Hey, we can hold off on that. That's no problem. Let's just take that out. And that brings your payment down to this. Does that help you out? Is that more comfortable? Is that more palatable? Right? Boom, bring it down. You can always go down. You can't always go up. Financing allows you to bundle. It allows you to package. It allows you to present a much better scope of work initially and avoid that price shock, or at least keep the conversation alive when you get to the price presentation. So let's just fast forward to the price presentation, shall we? So when we get done doing all this presentation, all this fact finding, and all this, exploring and doing everything we need to gather all the information to put together a detailed, informed option for the homeowner, or the prospect, and we lay it out in front of them, their first question while you're going through all your bells and whistles and your products, benefits, and all that and features is the only thing running through their mind for the most part is, what's this thing going to cost me? So I wonder what this costs. I wonder, the money is what they care about, right? They want to get to the money. So now we get to the money. We fast forward. We're at the money. It's $15,000. Well, we can go ahead and get all this done for you, Mrs. Smith, and it's only going to be $15,000. Now, Mrs. Smith, I don't care who you are, Mrs. Smith or not, $15,000 is a lot of money. So look at your number one objection, your number one stall, whatever you want to call it. Your number one stall in business, or objection in business, is, man, that's more money than what we thought, or that's a lot of money. And we have this misnotion, we have this misunderstanding about the money, where we think, you know what, if the boss would just lower our prices, we could sell more product. But that's not true. That's actually a false statement, but we buy into this stinking thinking and this crap, right? Because again, lowering the price, whether it's $13,000 or $15,000, they're both a lot of money. And go back to what the average American has in their bank account right now. They have less than $4,000 in total money in the bank, and 57% have less than $1,000 in their savings account, but they have $15,000 in debt. That's huge. So if I lowered the price by $500, you'd sell more of them? No, you wouldn't, because people still don't have the money. It's still a lot of money. The same objection is going to continue to come back up, or stall, or whatever you've been programmed to call those things, right? They're still going to want to talk about the money. So if I could deliver it a little bit different way, and a barrier is going to come up, right? When I say $15,000, that could make some people sit back in their chair. That could cause some sort of reaction where there's a barrier coming up mentally that says, holy crap, that is a lot of money. I only thought this was going to be like $4,000 to $5,000. This is 3 times what I thought it was going to be. Those are breaks, right? That sale's coming to a halt. At that point, we're putting the brakes on. We're stopping the bus right there, and everything everything gets silent, and it's uncomfortable, and the stress level, you can feel it, goes up in the house. So change the way we present it, right? I can present a $15,000 proposal for $198 a month. Hey, we go ahead and get everything all set for you, everything all done for only $198 a month. I mean, that's palatable. That's much more palatable, isn't it? I mean, it's not going to create as many barriers, but it's going to create a conversation. And that's another thing that financing allows us to do. We close more sales because we keep the conversation alive, right? The key to closing, I mean, no matter who I talk to and whatever business that they're in, one of their biggest things that they always want to know is, how do I overcome objections? How do I close more deals? Well, this is one thing that will close more deals for you without you learning any sales scripts, and without you really, doing anything that's, that you got to careful about the wording, and you have to be careful about all this stuff. This is just straight up business. Hey, listen, I've got this first option for you. It's $198 a month, and I got the second option for you. That's $161 a month. Which one would be better for your budget? Ask the question, right? At that point, they might just pick one. You know what? 161 is definitely doable for us. Awesome. I've got, next week, either Wednesday or Thursday available. Which day would be better for the installation? Would you like us to start this project on a weekend, or would you prefer that we start during a weekday? What's your work schedule look like, right? I can then lead into a different close or a different conversation. So at that point, we keep moving the sale forward. And I did so by not presenting a number that I already know is going to put anybody, heck, it would put me, it would put you back in your chair, right? So, I mean, if it's going to put the brakes on for all of us, what's the difference for our customers? Why do we assume that our customers are just going to be able to swallow 15 grand? It's not going to be a big deal, right? But then why do we also assume that it's okay for people to only invest $3,000 if they're going to be happy? They're not going to be happy. You can't have the best products, the best service, installed the best way for the cheapest price. It's completely impossible. There's no way to get the best of everything for the lowest price. Good things aren't cheap. Cheap things aren't good, right? I mean, it's at the end of the day, I mean, I always think back, my daddy always taught me something, I don't know, it just kind of stuck, right? He used to say, you know what, at the end of the day, it's better you pay a little bit more money than what you wanted to than a little less than you should have. Right? That's a true statement. It's always, if you look back to any purchase you've ever made in your life, and you base it 100% on the cheapest price, you're never stoked. You're never happy. You're like, oh, let's do that again, right? The thing broke. The thing just was a piece of crap. It didn't do what they said it was going to do, or not to the ability that you wanted it to be done. And so you find yourself after those investments, you go, man, if only I would have just waited. I would have rather just waited an extra 6 months, 12 months, 24 months, and saved up a little bit more money and bought the one that I really wanted, rather than impulsively buying the one that I could afford to write the check for today, because it didn't deliver to the same level as the more expensive model with all the bells and whistles. It's the same thing for your customers. Listen, financing in your business will change your business forever, but you have to get it on board. You have to get everybody on board. You have to inspect what you expect. You have to make sure that every one of your field employees that are out there with a price book or price matrix of any kind is offering monthly and total investments. That way they're letting the customer decide. Our job is to lay out all the options and present them to the homeowner. It's the homeowner or the prospect's job and responsibility to pick which option is best for them. That's all we can do. The more clear and concise we can present those options, and the more we can present those options with the least amount of barriers, the more people will choose to do business with us. So many home improvement providers across the country fear financing. They push financing away. They don't implement it in their business. And then when you talk to them, like, hey, do you offer? Oh yeah, we offer financing every time. Well, how do you offer it? Do you ask the customer a yes or no question? Hey, would you be interested in financing this project? That's a yes or no question, which is going to default to a no answer or no response more times than it does a yes. Don't ask that question. Assume everybody's going to use financing and roll out financing figures first. So let's fast forward a little bit. So you've got financing in your business. Everybody's presenting it on every single proposal. You're seeing the top line revenue increase, the bottom line revenue increase, the closing rates are increasing. The cycle, the sales cycle is shrinking. So you're selling jobs quicker than what you were before. The decisions being made faster. Average tickets are going up. Closing rates are going up. All good, right? Everything is all good. Now, what's going to happen is some of your field employees are going to start to do some math, and they're going to start to, again, go back down this stinking thinking. So if that $15,000 job, we've been referencing this for this whole video, at the 1.32% multiplier, that was $198 a month, right? So if I take $198 a month and I multiply it by 120 months, 10 years, which is the term on that loan, that means that money is going to cost the homeowner $23,760 to purchase a $15,000 system. So essentially, they're going to pay $23,760 for that $15,000 project. This is going to be a personal objection with your teams, and it might even be a personal objection with you right now as you watch this. Bottom line is that's not your problem. And I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how to make it softer. It's not your problem. Your job is to educate your consumer on all the options available to them. Their job as responsible adults is to make the decision that's best for them based on their money in and money out. Bottom line is, if they don't want to pay the money extra in the interest, then they should write a check. If they can't write a check, then they don't have a choice. Right? We all are given choices based on decisions we've made in the past that's led us to where we are today. So at the end of the day, if they don't have $15,000 of disposable income that they could put on this project right now, knowing that the life expectancy of that roof or that heating and air conditioning system or that the windows or whatever it was, whatever the improvement is going to be in their home, they knew they were planning on this. You're in their house because they're ready to move forward and they have no money saved up for it. So what are they going to do? They knew they were going to finance this before you showed up for the presentation because they didn't have any other option. They didn't have the money to put it on a credit card or to stroke a check for it. So again, the interest itself, this is why I like the finance programs that we use, because there's no penalty for early payoff. I can leave it up to the homeowner. Listen, it's going to be $198 a month. We can get this thing started for you. Would a weekday or a weekend be better for you to get this project started? Oh, let's get moving on a weekend. I don't have to take any time off of work. Awesome. We'll get started next Saturday. Be here between 8 and 9 in the morning to get going. Let's go ahead and get you, pre-approved for this financing. It's going to take less than 15 minutes. It's a 120-month term at a fixed 9.9%, but the coolest part is that there's no penalty for early payoff. So you can pay this off in 2 years, you can pay it off in 4 years, you can pay it off in 6 months, you can pay it off whenever you want, and then you're not going to incur any more interest, and at that point you can pay off the entire note. And make it a positive, which is all true. They can pay it off 3 days after they took the loan out and pay no interest, right? Unless they took it for a full month, they're not going to pay that 9.9%. So it's up to them. If they pay it off in 6 months, great. They paid 9.9% for the 6 months that they were on that program. When the note's satisfied, the note's satisfied. They didn't pay an extra $8,000. And bottom line is, it goes back to the decision that they make. That's not a decision for me to make. That's a decision for them to make. But we use these type of excuses as to why we don't leverage financing. I mean, you look at Harley Davidson, you look at Mercedes-Benz, you look at GM and Cadillac, you look at Porsche, you look at Porsche, you look at Audi, you look at any good high-end retailer. They're selling cars, man. They are selling vehicles and automobiles and motorcycles, and they're selling them at a good clip right now, right? They're leaving the showroom floor day after day after day, and people aren't coming in and stroking a check for the entire amount and driving away clean deal, right? They're financing that. And when they finance it, they already understand that they're going to pay the interest on that amount. And the larger the ticket, the more interest you're going to pay. They know this already. They're willing to spend, that extra money on that smartphone for their kid. They're paying for cable. They're paying for internet. They're paying for, an interest rate on their mortgage. They're paying an interest rate on their automobiles. They're paying an interest rate on all those credit cards that are carrying over $15,000 worth of debt. That's probably higher than 10%. Right? How many credit cards do you have in your wallet that are not on an introductory rate that are less than 9.9%? Very, very, very few, if any. So you're going to pay higher if you put it on a credit card. Now, some credit cards have amazing benefits, air miles or whatever have you, or dividends and cash back and all that might make sense for a homeowner. Hey, I want to put some on my credit card, get the points. Absolutely. We take all major credit cards, happy to run that card, right? Doesn't matter. But financing to start, we've covered a bunch of stuff in this video, but the first thing that you need to make sure that you're on the same page before we go any further with any other videos is that the mindset is on the same level, right? You got to stop the stinking thinking. You have to have a wide open mind, embracing mind to financing as a tool that I am going to bring into my business. I am going to leverage in my business, and I'm going to offer 100% of the time. You have to make sure that you've developed that relationship with that lender, whoever that's going to be. I would interview a number of lenders and then put it on them. It's their job to train your people. It's their job to come into your office or your establishment and train. It's their job to answer the phone when your field people have questions and are stuck in the field. You don't have to know it all. You have representatives from those lending institutions that will be more than happy to help you and your team become more comfortable with financing. The only reason why, if you're not leveraging financing at a very, very high degree in your business, is the only reason I can come up with is straight up fear. You just don't know. You don't know what you don't know. And the unknown is scary. And so therefore we just avoid it. And that's just the way human beings are, right? We avoid the inevitable. We avoid what we're fearful of and what we're afraid that might cause pain. We would just assume avoid it. Don't avoid this. This isn't going to cause any pain. It's only going to be good. And the only reason why you're not a master at it or an expert at it right now is because you lack experience. Just like the first time you've done anything, right? It takes a couple of times. If you process a loan application 6 to 12 times, I'd say a dozen times or less, at that point, you're going to be much more comfortable than you are before you've processed any. You're not going to be nearly as fearful of picking up the phone and calling that representative. You're not going to be nearly as fearful of opening up that application on your computer or on your phone to go ahead and get that filled out electronically and submitted. You're not going to be scared of the financing nearly to what you might be right now, or the questions that you have in your head, they'll all be answered. And once you know what you're doing, it's simple. It's easy. And then boom, you're done. At that point, that fear goes away and your success rate goes up even more. So the goal is to get that partnership solidified. Look at the dealer fees, right? There's only 2 kinds of buyers in this world. So I'm going to tell you, you only need 2 types of finance programs. The first one is no interest, no payment. But make sure you don't need a 60-month term on that. Right? If you had a 6-month, a 12-month, an 18-month, a 24-month, that's fine. No interest, no payment term is fine for somebody, because understand, those people have the money to write the check today. They just don't want to. because they're going to leverage their money with somebody else's money. It's smart. The wealthiest people always leverage other people's money, right? Called opium, other people's money. So they're going to use other people's money to leverage and keep their money where it is, working for them. But they make no mistake, they could write that check today. It just doesn't make sense for them to do so. So whether you give them 6 months, 12 months, or 18 months, it doesn't really matter. It's still a benefit to them. So look at the dealer fee. What is going to be okay for you to offer every single time that's built into your existing price structure, whether that be a 2% or a 5% or a 9%, increase you're going to have to make to your pricing to support that term, right? So 12-month, no interest, no payments might cost you, 6%. That 6% better be included in your pricing, so when somebody picks it, you can just roll, because you can't add money in for financing, right? You have to be very careful about financing fees. You can't tell somebody at the kitchen table, oh, well, if you're going to finance it, I have to charge you more. You have to be very careful. There's so many rules and regulations around that. I'm not going to tell you it's against the law, because I don't know that to be 100% factual, but I believe that to be against the law. So I would never say that to somebody, to say, oh, you know what, I got to add 7% to cover my dealer fees for this program, and then we can do it. You cannot do that. That will be a problem. I know that for sure. You can always discount, but you can't add on you can discount for cash, but you can't add on for financing. So be very careful as to how you present this. And again, the financial institution that you partner with will train you on these things so that you know what you can and you can't say. And number two, the second program that you want to have is a long-term fixed interest. And again, I don't care if it's 2.99% or a 9.99%. My goal is to be less than 10%, because that's less than most people have on a credit card that's not on an introductory rate. So it gives me a very good payment factor to get a monthly investment that's low and affordable. Again, those people can't write a check, so therefore they're looking for the lowest monthly investment. It's their only option. They don't have $7,000 or $10,000 or $20,000 in the bank, or sitting in a nest egg somewhere that they're going to cash in. So you need to make that monthly investment as low as possible. You want it to have a no penalty for early payoff. So at that point, they can pay it off in 8 months, and they stop paying interest. That's fine too. So 2 payment options in addition to the ones that you have now. You should accept all major credit cards. And again, stinking thinking is the only reason why you say, oh, American Express's fees. Have it in your price. I mean, if I have an American Express in my wallet, it's the first card that I'm going to grab every purchase that I'm going to make, because I get the best rewards afterwards. Don't tell me you don't accept American Express on a large purchase like that, because I'm going to get the most benefit as a card holder to use my American Express. So it doesn't matter if it's an extra 1 or 2% built into the price. I'm still going to use my American Express. So you should take all major credit cards, checks, cash, of course, is king. I don't mind taking cash at all. And then, of course, financing on no interest, no payments, and a long-term, fixed interest with no penalty for early payoff. So get those things set up in your business right now. Make sure you have the relationship set up, you have the partnership set up. Use their training, which is going to be a generalized training of how to get this launched in your business. And then we'll continue on down through these video series of dialing this into another level and another level and another level. Right now, make sure that your mind is wide open to financing. You're excited about financing, and you've made the conscious, clear, concise decision that you are going to offer financing in your business on all aspects of your business 100% of your time. And you're starting to whisper and chirp in the team's ears, from the person that answers the phone to the person that's out in the field and everybody in between, that financing is going to be a huge focus for us, going to be a huge staple for us. This is what we're doing. This is the direction we're going. Everybody get on the wagon. Everybody hop on the bus, get in the seats, and here we go. We're going to take this baby for a ride. Make sure everybody understands that financing is something that you're going to put a lot of focus and a lot of energy on. And that way everybody's on the same page. You're not pushing when they're pulling. You're all going the same direction. Answer the questions to your ability. Reach out to us anytime. We'd be happy to help you answer additional questions or give clarification, and continue to watch the series on financing so that we can help you build this into your business, implement this into your business one step at a time, because I know this. The only reason why I'm doing this video right now is I know for sure, for a fact, that if more people in the in-home service business utilized the power of financing, that it would change their life forever. It would increase their top line, their bottom line revenue. It would increase the quality of their business. It would increase the quality of all their employees' lives, and their customers would be happier afterwards because they're getting a system that truly has a positive impact on them that they can appreciate. So again, Michael with Success for Others. If you have questions, reach out anytime. Look for the next set of the next video to come out in this series, and we'll go one step at a time. But today's homework, before you can move forward, what you have to have is a financing, at least one financing relationship set up, ready to go in your business, that includes a no interest, no payments for a short term and a low interest fixed payment for the long term. The longer the term, the better, the lower the monthly investment. So again, Michael with Success for Others. If I can be of any service to you at any point in time, or anybody over here at Success for Others can be of any help to you at any time, do not hesitate to reach out. We look forward to helping you transform your business and increase your quality of life. Thank you.